Hi everyone, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. My name is Isla. So just a little bit about me. I started Melt and Pour about a year ago, so I'm still rather new at it, but I have a lot of creative hobbies and I've always been like a very creative person, so picking up on new creative things is pretty easy for me. I just love experimenting and trying new things, and I wanted this channel to kind of be a platform for people to kind of see the ups and downs and the failures, but also the triumphs of different experiments in Melt and Pour. I've always had a lot of fun with Melt and Pour, and I've always just loved the idea of making a product that the consumer can actually use, but it's at the same time art. And I've always been into art. I've always loved art. I do a bunch of other hobbies like embroidery and collaging and painting, and I always say it's much easier selling a $5 bar of soap than it is a $300 painting. So anyways, enough about that. So a few days ago I had an idea, and I haven't ever seen this done before. Well, I've seen the concept done before, but I haven't seen the technique that I'm going to do done before. Someone probably has already done it, just haven't filmed it or posted it, but I don't know what's gonna happen, and I wanted to share it with you guys. And I want us all to have fun while doing it. I want to have fun making it, and I want you guys to have fun watching. I know we're all quarantined at home right now. I hope everyone's safe and healthy, and I just want to make some content for you guys so you can take your mind off of it. So anyways, basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making a solar system soap. And I know that this has been done before a lot, especially in cold process, but also in Melt and Pour. But the way I've always seen it done is using individual ball molds to make the planets. And I just never thought that looked good, to be honest. I'm very, very picky and particular, and I always, that flat edge, you can never get a full circle in those individual ball molds, and that always bugged me because you could see the flat edge of the planet. And as we all know, column molds are one big column, and when you cut into it, it's a perfect circle. So I wanted to do a solar system soap like that. Now, but the problem is, as we know, planets are not just one blob of color. They're not just one circle of blue or one circle of red. They're a bunch of different colors. So I figured I could use shreds of other embeds to put into my base and pour that into the column mold. So when you cut it, it's kind of like confetti, and it's two-toned or maybe multiple tones. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. So it looks like a real planet. Now, I also want to add some stars to this, and I have a small star column mold. So first off, we're going to be making the embeds, and then we'll do the base and assemble it, and I'll show you guys the process. So let's get soap making. All right, so first off, I'm going to be making the star embeds. I'm using Crafter's Choice Star Mini Column Mold. So I've got about this much soap. It was 3 of these cubes from the Crafter's Choice Melt and Pour detergent-free clear base. Okay, this is all melted down. And for the coloring, I'm gonna be using Ye Old Saturn Yellow. I'm just gonna do 1 drop. All right, I think that color is really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and pour. I just secured the bottom of my mold with some binder clips because sometimes it can leak out. So if you find that your column molds are leaking, just put some binder clips on there, and that should hold good. And yeah, that was definitely way too much soap. I have about this much left, but my plan was to use whatever's left over to make the shreds for the planets. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna put a couple more cubes of this clear into here and melt it down, and then we'll make it another color. And this is all melted down, so let's add our color. I think I want to make one planet red and purple, and then another planet green and blue, and then I'm not sure about the third planet yet, but we will figure that out. So this one, I'm going to color this green because it's already yellow, so it'll be easy to turn it green. So I'm going to be using the Maniacal Pea by Mad Micas. This is a great mica. I highly recommend Mad Micas. So to mix this up, we're just going to put a little bit of rubbing alcohol. You don't need a lot. And then I'm just going to take a little scooper full of mica. And I'm going to mix this up. So that is what that looks like. And now I'm going to add it to my base. And I think that looks great. I'm gonna pour this into some molds. So for the next planet, I think I'm gonna do teal and pink maybe. So I'm going to clean up a little bit and then get melting. So now this is all melted down, and I wasn't able to get all the green into one of these, but that's fine because I'm gonna do teal next, and teal and green are really, really similar, so it won't even matter. So the color I'm gonna be using is Tahitian Teal, again by Mad Micas. I'm just gonna use the same little cup because, like I said, teal and green are basically the same color and there's no need to waste. So I'm gonna, again, pour a little alcohol. And then take a little scooperful of mica. I'm gonna do a little bit more. And now I'm gonna mix. So for melt and pour soap, we incorporate mica into a carrier like rubbing alcohol or glycerin or something like that because it'll disperse better in the soap. If you just put the mica straight into your soap, then it might not disperse all the way and it can leave chunks. That looks great. All right, I think that looks good, so I'm gonna pour this into the mold for it to set. That was like the exact perfect amount of soap. Wow, I'm impressed. So I'm gonna spritz this with alcohol to get the bubbles off, and then we'll do our last one. Okay, so the soap is all melted down. For this color, I think I'm going to do a mix of Voodoo from Mad Micas, which is a nice like reddish pink color. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of Ye Olde Neon Red just to brighten it up a little bit more and to bring out those red tones. Because I want it a little bit more red than pink, I think. So now I'm just gonna add 1 drop of this red. So now that all of these are done, I'm going to let all these set and then we'll come back to do some more embed work. Okay, and we are back. You are at a different angle because I think that'll show you what's going on a little bit better. So all I did is I just shredded up those bars that we made, and the colors did mix a tiny bit because of the shredder. I just use a normal cheese grater, just a household cheese grater. So this is what they look like. There are a little bit bigger chunks in there too because of the little piece at the end that you can't always shred all the way down, so I just cut them up into little chunks. But I think that'll look better because it'll give more variety to the sizes and shapes that are in each planet. So I have my molds here. These are just normal circle column molds. One of them is from Brambleberry, and I don't remember where I got the other one from, but you can get them at Brambleberry. They're the exact same. So I thought about how I'm going to do this, and I think what I need to do is I need to put the shreds and the embeds directly into the column molds, because if I mix them into the hot base, then I think they'll melt too easily because these shreds are pretty small, even though I used the largest hole on the cheese grater. So I think I'm going to have to put these embeds in here first and then pour the base over it so it doesn't melt everything down. pushing it down with a chopstick to make sure that it goes all the way to the bottom, and I can see here that it's at the bottom. So I'm gonna call that one good. I think that was good. I see it all around. I didn't want to pack it too tightly, but I think this will make for a pretty nice swirl. So now I'm gonna do another one. Okay, so I'm going to call that good for now. That was really messy, so if you're gonna do this at home, maybe wear gloves, but I didn't have any. I didn't think it would be this messy, but I'm gonna clean up and then we're gonna melt some more soap down. So for this green embed, I think I'm going to use this mica. It is Twilight by Mad Micas. It's a gorgeous dark blue shade, and I think it'll match really well with the green. So I'm gonna do that. All right, so my soap is all melted down. I've also mixed my colorant up. It's so pretty. So normally I would take the temperature and use that to determine when to pour, but right now my thermometer is broken. So I'm just gonna have to guess based on my experience. And it's generally cool enough to pour over embeds and not melt them when there's a small skin starting to form. So I'm gonna wait until that happens and then we'll pour. So I think I'm also gonna scent this in Bumbleberry by Nature's Garden. This is such a good scent. It's a very sweet berry fragrance and I love it. It's one of my favorites. Okay, so the skin is starting to form, so I think it's cool enough to pour now. Oh man, I really hope this works. And I'm also gonna use my chopstick to mix everything up and make sure that there's soap everywhere. Okay, so that went okay. There are a few air bubbles. I'm gonna see if I can get them out with my chopstick. Okay, I think that went okay actually. I do still see some green in there, so I don't think it all just melted down. Okay, I think I'm gonna call that good. There's probably still air bubbles in there, but there's not really much I can do. We're gonna move on to the next one. I poured most of the blue off into another mold to set, but there is a little bit still left, so I'm just gonna use that for my next color because the next color I wanna do, I think, is purple. So for the next color, I think I wanna use Cyber Grape. This is by Nurture Soap. Okay, my base is all melted down. I'm gonna go ahead and add the color in. I think this color will go great with the red. So I'm gonna wait until this cools down a little bit more before I add my fragrance and then we'll pour. All right, I can feel that this is cool enough to add my fragrance. Okay, I think that was good. I don't see any more air bubbles in there, so I'm gonna let these sit and we'll be back for the last one. All right, we are back, and you guys, these embeds turned out amazing. Look at that, how it's all swirled in there. I did the last one off camera because it was just the same thing that I did with the other ones. This one I had a little bit more trouble. It wouldn't get down into the bottom, so I had to cut off quite a bit of it, but that's all right. We'll just work with what we got. I also made some more stars. So we're gonna have 4 stars and 3 planets. So I'm gonna melt some soap down and let's assemble these bars. So for my color, I'm going to use Wicked by Mad Micas. This is a black mica. You can use an activated charcoal for this, but I want it to be a little bit shimmery because it's like supposed to be the galaxy, so I'm gonna go with a mica. It's still way too hot to pour, so I'm going to wait until there's a skin on it and I can see that it's getting a tiny bit thicker, and then I'll pour into my mold. I decided I also want to add some Super Sparkles Enviro Glitter. This is from Nurture Soap, just to give it a bit of shimmer because it's supposed to be like a galaxy. With glitters, you can just pour it straight into your soap. You don't have to mix it with anything beforehand. To be honest, I've never put glitter in a black soap before, so I'm not sure if it'll even show up, but it's worth a shot. Look at that popsicle stick. Wow, that is awesome. I'm so glad I did that. Look how pretty that is. Are you kidding me? Glitter also has a tendency to fall to the bottom of whatever mold you're using, so that's another reason to wait until your soap is at about 120 degrees Fahrenheit to pour, because you want all the little sparkles to be suspended. So the mold I'm using is just from Amazon. I'm not sure what exactly it's called, but if you just search soap mold on Amazon, this is like the first thing that pops up. So it also dawned on me that since this is a black soap, this is a perfect opportunity to use a fragrance oil that has vanillin in it, because vanillin discolors your soap to brown, but since this is black, it won't even matter. So I think I'm gonna try to find a fragrance oil that has vanillin in it that will go good with the scent that we used earlier, which was like a berry scent. So I'm gonna use Black Raspberry Vanilla. This is from Crafter's Choice. I figured that since there's already like a berry scent in there, that Black Raspberry Vanilla would go perfect. So this is still a little bit hot, but I'm gonna pour a little bit into the bottom of the mold just so our embeds have something to be supported by. And always remember to spritz with rubbing alcohol to get rid of the bubbles. I think I can start putting in embeds now. So I'm gonna start with 1 star. And with the star embed, I just like to turn it a little inside of the mold because the way that it's shaped, some bubbles can get stuck underneath there. So I'm gonna spritz again to make sure it all sticks. I think I'm gonna do this purple and red planet. So I'm gonna spritz this with rubbing alcohol. This allows it to adhere to the soap around it. I'm gonna go ahead and spritz some more and add some more soap. I'm gonna go ahead and add this one now. And I'm gonna add another star. All right, I think I'm gonna call that good. We're gonna let this sit and then I'll be back for the cut. Look how awesome these turned out. Oh my gosh. I could not have asked for anything better. These look so awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hit that like button if you liked it and be sure to subscribe because I will be posting more content soon.